Good afternoon, class. Welcome to today's class. Today we'll be looking at modules under data structure. And the last time we met, we discussed about data structure. And I said data structure is a way of organizing and storing data so it can be used efficiently in a program. And we look into data structure in PHP and Python as well. But today, so we'll be looking at modules, and modules is a, let me just say, is something that you break code down into reusable portion and classes, then reassemble those components into modules and packages. So that is modules. It's breaking code down into reusable portions and classes. So modules, modules you'll be looking at it in Python and PHP, but modules generally is referred to the concept of reorganizing code into reusable, manageable pieces. So that is what it means. And the larger the project, the more useful this organization. So the larger the project we are writing, the more useful with the organization to break down code, the modules into reusable portion and classes. And modules referred to as, as we continue, we'll be looking at modules as referred to as a separate files or block of code that can be reused across multiple programs. So, and a module that is a reusable pieces of software, I said it earlier, is a file containing code to be reused. Modules allow us to logically organize our code. It allows us to logically organize our code, and grouping related code into a module makes the code easier to understand and use. So when we say reusable, you use the same code in multiple times, in multiple places. So that is what it means. And it can easily help us to logically organize our code. So many related modules can be put together into a collection called a package. So it can help with the related modules. Many related modules can be put together into a collection called package. We have the advantage or the benefit of using modules. Advantage or benefit of using module. Number one, it allows us to logically organize our code. I've said it earlier, and it allows us to logically organize your code. So, and another advantage is grouping related code into modules make the code easier to understand and use. So it will make our code to when you are grouping related code, it make the modules to make the code easier to understand and use, and it improve code maintainability. When we say code maintainability, improve code maintainability is easier to update or debug. So it makes our code to be easier to update or debug the code. So another advantage is error containment. When we say error containment, that is, it confirms program's error. It confirms program error to a section of the code. And another advantage is it ensures code reusability. And when we say code reusability, that means you can use the same code in multiple places. So we have type of modules. We have two types of modules. We have standard library modules that is provided as part of the language core. And we have user-defined module that is created by the developers or the programmer. The programmers or the developer created such kind of module, that is the user-defined modules. So that is the type of modules that we have. And defining a modules, The pseudocode below define a function that accepts student name and print a greeting message. So let's see example of defining a modules. Defining a function that accepts student name and print a message. So we have the modules, the function of greet, the name inside the bracket, display how are you with the plus concatenation, the name. So we are to take note that saving this code be up the code above, saving the code especially in a new file. When you are saving this code that we just narrate, that just explain, when you are saving that code specifically in a new file, it can allow us to reuse it in other program. What we need is by calling the file, calling the program again, call the program so that for us to reuse it in another program. So by calling it with save name. So you call the program, you want to reuse that program that you have specified at the beginning in the module. So by reusing it to another program, we call the program with the same name. The same name you use to save the program, you call it into another program you want to use it again. So the pseudocode saved can be used in another file by just calling it. So that is how we can reuse a code in another program, so by calling it with the same name. So let's look at modules in Python properly. So we look at it in Python, we look at modules in Python, we look at it in PHP as well. So modules in Python, we have dealt deep. I will just brief it because we have done that in 201 introduction to Python programming. So modules in Python, importing modules from the same directory or folder. So from the same directory path or folder. So we are importing modules. So we have the syntax for importing modules from the same directory. We have the import module 1 square bracket open with the square bracket module 2, another open with the square bracket comma dot notation, dot notation 3 dot notation module n, closing with the square bracket. So the execution of the above statement import module 1 provided it is available in the search bar. And I said in introduction to Python programming that a search bar is a list of directory that the interpreter searches before importing a module. So search bar is a list of directory. So the execution of that syntax, that above statement, import module 1, you will have to check provided that module is available in the search bar. So and in case like in this case now, when you check the search bar whether it's available, so in this case we include the path to the current working directory, so where the current program file is saved. So and we take note that at least one module name must be specified at the execution of the import statement. So one module name must be specified in the execution of the import statement, and the square bracket in the syntax means the square bracket from the syntax of modules in Python means that the second to the end modules are optional. So the second to the end modules are optional. And after importation, after you have imported your modules, you can access the names in the modules using dot notation. So we see it from the example below. So after we have imported our module, we can access the name of that module, the name in the module using dot notation. So let's see the example. Write a Python program to import and use the greeting.py module defined above. So we want to write a program that we import our modules, the module name that we import it, and use the greeting.py modules to define it. Let's see the example here. We have our module name to be greeting.py, and we have the def keyword to define the greeting.py. So def keyword greet inside the bracket name. So we print the greeting.py module. So we print it. How are you doing, Mr. plus concatenate with the name plus, so with the question mark. So, and we have another main program. So we have that's another program, which is main program main.py. So we import the greeting.py, that greeting name. We import the greeting, which we have the greeting dot notation the def greet name that we import. We import it, and we have the name of that greet is student. That is the name. Is student as the name. So by the time we print it out, we have the output with the version number of the Python we are using, and the memory inside the version, and we have the output as how are you doing, Mr. Student. We should write a PHP program to define a greeting.php module, and then we use include statement. We include and use the greeting.php module in another program. So another as main program. So we use the include statement to include the greeting.php. After including it, so we call the greet student. So we insert the name of that the greet name to be student. So by the time we want to print the output, echo it, we have the how are you doing, Mr. Student. So how are you doing, Mr. Student. So we have called the program by including the name, which is student. So how are you doing, Mr. Student, from the main program, from another program, which is the main program. So that is the example of the modules in PHP. Be using it in another program, which is the main program. So let's see another example again. Write a Python and PHP. This one is together, Python and PHP program with the same example. Write a Python and PHP program that uses a module to test whether a given quadratic equation defined as x raised to the power square plus bs plus c equal to 0. We have complex root real and equal root or real and DC2, where x equal to minus b plus with the equation. So let's see how with the solution at our first program file module name. So we reuse it in another program by calling of root inside the main program, import nature of root, and we have the value for those nature of root. A to be equal to 2, b equal to 4, c equal to 2. So we return the value equal to nature of root dot notation, determine the nature of root by calling the value abc. So and we have the conditional statement. If return underscore value less than 0, we print the root are complex, and else if it is otherwise, return the value equal to 0, print the root are real and equal, else print the root are real and this way. So we have the output by time. So for that of the PHP solution as well, the module name nature of root, the same module name, nature of root dot php, but in Python is .py, but in PHP .php, nature of root .php, and we start with the sign for PHP, and function determine the function keyword, not df keyword. In PHP we have function keyword. Function determine the nature, and with the value starting with the $ as the value for ABC. So, and we have open with the parenthesis the value, the solution for the discriminant, and we have the conditional statement in the PHP as well. If this equal return is 0, else if return 1, else return minus. So we now want to use it in another program, which is the main program, quadratic.php. We call it the quadratic.php from the starting program file. We call it to the main program. So we have the PHP. We now include the include statement, nature of root, by calling the nature of root include statement. But in this one, there will be no dot notation, nature of root dot determine the nature. So in this one, by the time we call on the include statement, nature of root, and we supply the value for the ABC value for the so we have the return the value, determine the nature, and using the conditional statement, if return underscore value, so we have the echo the roots are complex, else if root value equal to 0 underscore value equal to 0, the roots are real and equal, else otherwise the roots are real and this. So, and we have the output as the root are real and equal. So a package containing related modules, packages, sub-packages, and so on. So those packages here in these modules in PHP, they contain modules, sub-packages, sub-packages, and you can access modules inside a package using dot notation. So, and if modules nature of root.py were saved in my Python code, that is for Python. If it is saved in my Python code, you will access it as my Python code dot nature of root dot determine the nature, but you can see for the example under Python modules in Python problems. So while my Python code is the package name, nature underscore root is the module name. So my Python is the package name, that is the package name. Nature of root is the module name, and determine the nature is the function name. So to import a module from a different package, we create an empty Python file, which we have seen in introduction to Python programming, and we save it in the package you want to import from. So, and we have the script to be int underscore .py that runs when the package is imported. So accessing a module in PHP is quite different from that of Python. So it's different. You can see from the example we cited this quadratic equation that we make use of importing modules using Python, and we do that in PHP as well. So accessing a module in PHP is quite different from that of the Python, and you can access module inside the project folder by just including it into your work. So, and that ends the lecture under modules in PHP and